Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the closing ceremony of the Ananda College Model United Nations Conference 2020.
Other analysts say satellite images and internet inspections of the regime
comes from China. Racist. It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China.
Used, here we go, they're moving through again. This is exactly what it looks like. Exactly what it looks like. We're just staying safely.
Where soldiers were tasked with identifying substances in a simulated chemical lab.
Media broke into programming with anger, saying South Korea should be completely treated like an enemy, that it's...
The Chinese government is to be congratulated for the extraordinary measures it has taken to contain the outbreak.
For a short period of time, you will be in negative margins or negative prices for a lot of bases.
Nach der Eindämmungsverordnung, eine Versammlung abhalten zu können.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you a bit about the Atman history. In 2004, the club was founded by Tumal Karnaratna, Sajid Bandara and Mr. Rohan Illavala. In 2005, Simulation SARC was initiated by these individuals and continued in the years 2006 and 2007. Due to the growing popularity it gained throughout the youth of South Asia, in the year 2008, Sri Lanka Model United Nations was born. And the Ananda College Model United Nations was able to win Best Delegation at the Indian Model United Nations in the year 2006. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite former President of the Ananda College Model United Nations Association.
A very good evening to all of you joining with the Ananda College Model United Nations Conference's closing ceremony. This is my final speech as a student MUNer at Ananda College, and I wish to speak a few words about myself. In the year 2017, I joined this platform knowing nothing about this. But I still believe that this was the turning point in my life. By 2018, I was appointed the chief organizer of the club and the conference itself, which gave me a brand new exposure to the society. But in the year 2019 was a challenge itself. I was appointed as a Secretary General this year. But at the same time, in 2019, the brutal Easter Sunday attacks happened. And also a lot of other problems also came up. But me and my team was able to conquer these issues and everything on a very diligent way, which actually gave me the exposure I needed as an individual. The year 2020, this very year, tested our limits even further. This year's COVID-19 pandemic resulted in making the new normal. And we, as the Model United Nations Association, created the first ever free of charge Model United Nations conference in Sri Lanka, and it might be even in the world. On a personal note, on this great occasion, I would like to thank a few individuals who have helped me throughout this journey. Firstly, I would like to thank my good friend Ninura Gunasekara, who introduced me to this Model United Nations platform in 2017. I would also like to thank all the seniors who have helped me throughout this journey, especially Tarusha Ayya, Vidul Ayya, Dilpa Ayya, Lojit Ayya, Seth, Sahas, and Rasindu Ayya, and everyone, all the seniors who have helped me throughout this journey of 4 years. Also, I would like to thank Mrs. Kokila Dharmaratna, the former teacher in charge of ACMUN, and also Mrs. Geetani Suryarachi, who is the current teacher in charge of the club, who gave me responsibilities which turned me into the individual who I am today. I also take this an opportunity to thank Mr. and Mrs. Jeevandara, who helped me with English, with my English skills of the Brisbane International School. On a final note, I would like to thank my parents and to my mother and father, who always were throughout this conference, always throughout this life as an MUNer, who always encouraged me to do the extracurricular activities at school. And finally, I would like to congratulate the juniors, especially Sekjen Sasindu and his team, Kalana, Ravindu, Dilaka, and the rest of the team who pulled off this magnificent event with being the first ever conference organized free of charge with more than 4 delegations from all parts of the world. So my time as a student at Ananda College is going down now. And during this journey, MUN has been a part of this vibrant innings of mine. So Ananda College Model United Nations Conference, in my perspective, on a final note, is a best conference for a delegate who is starting their MUN career, and also at the same time, the best conference for any delegate who is ending or retiring from their MUN career. This is undoubtedly where debaters become diplomats. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sandeep Lamasuriya for his entertainment item.
When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet, will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheeks? And darling, I will be loving you till we're 17. And baby, my heart could still fall as hard at 23. I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe just the touch of a hand. For me, I fall in love with you every single day, and I just wanna tell you I am. So honey, now take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of the 1,000 stars. Oh darling, place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud. Maybe we found love right where we are. Maybe we found love right where we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a brief introduction about our chief guest. She is a youth empowerment advocate specializing in the niche area of youth empowerment incubation. She is the founder of the president of Hype Sri Lanka, which is the country's first youth empowerment incubator. She is also the founding president of the Young Legal Professionals Association of Sri Lanka. She was appointed as the United Nations Youth Delegate for Sri Lanka in 2016 in recognition of her community service. In this capacity, she has worked as a youth focal point to the National Youth Services Council and the Ministry of National Policies and Economic Affairs. Ms. Senanayake also served as the Global Ambassador for Sri Lanka for Youth Opportunities in 2018. She currently serves as the Regional Ambassador for Youth Asia for the Global Youth Aspirations Program. She is a Women Deliver Young Leader of 2020 and the recipient of the Diana Award 2020. In terms of her professional and academic background, she is an attorney at law who has completed her LLB at the University of London and her business administration, specializing in development policy and management economics at the University of Colombo. She is also a Chevening Scholarship recipient for 2020 who is following her LLM in International Economic Law, Justice and Development at Birkbeck University of London. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Chiranti Senanayake, Chief Guest of ACPUN 2020.
The present is a day and age where human beings are becoming more aware of how truly fragile their existence is, especially in 2020, which is marked by a series of unfortunate events. This existential awareness is encouraging many to be proactive in creating sustainable lives for all Earthlings. A segment of the global population that is leading this movement, both in the grassroots and decision-making levels, is the global youth. That is why I consider it a privilege to speak to a global youth audience as the chief guest of the closing ceremony of Ananda College Model United Nations 2020. In the past 2 days, the young delegates and ambassadors of ACMUN 2020 extensively debated on a host of timely topics ranging from re-establishing state global markets in light of COVID-19 to reimagining international environmental commitments to suit the needs of the 21st century. The friendships that you created when frantically writing a resolution, the self-confidence you cultivated by speaking under a moderated caucus topic, and even the commitment you demonstrated when researching late into the night for debate. All of this proves to us that MUN is more than just conferences. In my opinion, the uniqueness of Model United Nations is that when you are diplomatically discussing these subjects, you are representing countries, you're representing real people who are engaging in personal pursuits of happiness and success in countries you may have never visited. This is symbolic of the responsibility that is placed on the youth to be part of something bigger than themselves. It reminds you that as a young person, you play a unique role in the timeline of human evolution as you are an actor of the present who is going to inherit the earth in the future. Therefore, the youth can be recognized as the connecting factor between today and tomorrow. That is why it is important for the youth to be proactive when engaging in discussion and bringing about change in their local communities. It just makes logical sense for the youth to be agents of sustainable development. Did you know that in 2019, there were 1.2 billion young people between the ages of 15 years and 24 years? This number just keeps growing. According to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, the youth population will peak at 1.4 billion people in 2065. What is interesting to note about this population increase is that in the next 3 decades, the youth populations of 47 of the least developed countries in the world will increase by 62%. Imagine a situation where 1.2 billion people, at least 1.2 billion people, are advocating for and fighting to protect the local ecosystems in the Himalayas, to end period poverty in India, to provide clean drinking water to the rural villages in Congo, or are stopping child trafficking in Thailand, would then the youth not be an unstoppable force of human goodness? The young delegates and organizers of ACMUN are also part of this youth force, but whether you are unstoppable is completely up to you. You may find it odd that I'm actually speaking about this particular issue at a closing ceremony of the MUN conference, but I really believe this is something that must be said. It is becoming progressively evident that macro systems which have been established to promote and protect the 3 Ps, people, prosperity, and the planet, are progressively failing. This is because international organizations and governments of the world believe that positive change can only be achieved through large-scale development. Since the late 1900s, we haven't spoken enough about the role of the individual in bringing about change. We have not nurtured microactivism. Microactivism is comprehensively advocating for a specific identified local issue by parallelly engaging in bottom level as well as top level discussion and empowerment with a commitment to resolve this issue. For example, let's say you are living in close proximity to a river where illegal sand mining is taking place. This illegal sand mining has damaged the river basin and it has completely destroyed, let's say, the vegetation on the river banks. To combat or to stop this illegal sand mining, as opposed to organizing an online campaign, a social media campaign on why the environment must be protected, you would engage in a project with comprehensive advocacy steps under microactivism. This project would include organizing a stakeholder discussion between the local government office as well as the villagers of your area. It could also include organizing an online petition to garner the support of your networks for this issue, filing complaints with the local police or the local office of the government ministry in charge of environmental protection. All of these steps is about taking effective advocacy or adopting effective advocacy to solve a particular problem. You might find it quite odd that I'm talking about microactivism in the closing ceremony of an MUN conference. But why I choose to do so is to show you that MUN is not just about the glamorous conferences, speaking in front of an audience, or the chances to walk home with the accolade at the end of the event. It is ideally a reminder to the young ambassadors and delegates that MUN is a call for action to transform conversation into change. So if you are attending MUN for the glamorous conference or to actually wear suit and tie at networking events or to even take home the best delegate award, remember that you are being distracted by the glitz. So I encourage you and I invite you to use MUN as a launch platform to hone your skills and to learn about global challenges so that you may go back to your homes, your schools and your communities and fight for local causes. Of course, while you're doing this, it is important to be aware of being armchair activists or being cookie cutter advocates. In my opinion, activism is losing its true sense because it has become more about posting online about a trending issue to get a few likes or inviting others to be part of the discussion or inviting others to take action. We must remember that fame is a tool for advocacy and not the end goal of advocacy. as one of the leading school-based Model United Nations conferences, ACMUN has actually expanded its reach to a global youth audience this year. It is absolutely wonderful to see that Ananda College Model United Nations is growing stronger each year, and I congratulate the organizing committee of ACMUN 2020 for pulling off a conference of this caliber, of this magnitude. I'm sure they would not be offended when I speak on behalf of them and say that months of hard work went into organizing this conference, not just for you to have a memorable MUN experience. That is important, that is one of their goals. But it was more to invite you to fight for the causes that are close to your heart. Of course, when we are actually advocating and volunteering and being passionate about something, we must not forget that our passion can be manipulated and misused for the wrong ends. Politicization of the youth and spreading fundamentalism through the youth is present all over the world. So let's not be swayed by the flowery words of extremists or the empty promises of politicians. We as the youth should act as an effective check and balance on all those entities, all those agents who are responsible for bringing about development where no one is left behind. I would like to end with a quote from my grandfather, who has played a pivotal role in my life, a defining role in my life. When I was young enough to understand that life is actually what you make of it, he used to always tell me, "Doer, daughter, every human being has a birth responsibility to ensure that they empower others and impact lives. This responsibility does not mean bringing about large-scale change. It is bringing a smile to those that are within your reach so that you are part of something bigger than yourself." Joining us today may be the future presidents, parliamentarians, chief justices, CEOs, and other leaders of their countries. So I invite you as the youth to positively impact and empower others in your own personal journeys of success, in your own personal journeys of becoming the best versions of yourself. That is the only way that you can be part of something bigger than yourselves. And let's not forget, it is often the causes that are closest to your heart and the changes that are brought about in your local communities that are the most sustainable. Congratulations on successfully participating at ACMUN 2020, and I wish you nothing but good luck for your future MUN career.
College was initiated in 2006 with 5 students. This student count flourished with the increase in quality of service provided by ESA College as an English language facilitator. What started in a small location has proudly expanded into 4 branches, which houses a considerable number of students who thrive to sharpen their English knowledge. Since the humble beginning we had in 2006, ESA College has come a long way in terms of the student count, the number of teachers, the number of branches, and the increased infrastructural facilities.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Kalana Sri Sandharuwan, Under-Secretary General of Operations of Ananda College Model United Nations Conference 2020, to brief you upon the conference.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, I remember the aftermath of ACMUN 2019. It was a massive success. But then, we wanted to make our next conference, ACMUN 2020, an even more of a grand experience for all the MUNs out there. So we immediately started working on plans and we made preparations for them. But then with the arrival of 2020, we have to massively change our plan and adapt to this new normal. And with that, we had to face many problems. We had to face financial problems, we had to face problems with our logistics, and with all of that, still we managed to grab the opportunities that doing a conference virtually presented, and this finally resulted in the first ever free of charge international MUN experiences. So with all the problems that we faced along the road, ACMON 2020 as it is now is a massive success story in my view. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now the time has come. The time that each and every one of you has been waiting for. We'll move on to the announcing of the awards. World Health Assembly, Best Delegate goes to the Delegate of Belgium. High Commendation goes to the Delegate of Italy. And Honorable Mention goes to the Delegate of Netherlands. Moving on to the United Nations Environmental Programme, Best Delegate goes to the Delegate of Saudi Arabia. High Commendation goes to the Delegate of United States of America, and Honorary Mention goes to the Delegate of United Kingdom. Moving on to the Security Council, Best Delegate goes to the Delegate of Dominican Republic. Moving on to the General Assembly 2, Best Delegate goes to the Delegate of Israel. High Commendation goes to the Delegate of Canada, and Honorary Mention goes to the Delegate of Bulgaria. Moving on to the Human Rights Council, Best Delegate goes to the Delegate of Belgium. High Commendation goes to the Delegate of United States. Honorary Mention goes to the Delegate of France. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Under Secretary General of Finance, Ravindu Karunaratne, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, dear ladies and gentlemen. Our chief guest for the evening, Ms. Chiranti Seranayake, thank you for joining with us, even with your busy schedule, from the United Kingdom. Our principal, sir, Mr. S.M. Kirthiratne, thank you, sir, for your timely support. Our dear teacher in charge, Mrs. Geethani Suryarachi, madam, thank you very much for the constant support that you have given to us throughout this year. Next, I'd like to thank our sponsors, starting from Chocolate Magazine, our official media partner, Karunaratne Sons, our official printing partner, for providing us with high quality printing materials for over 3 years. And a special thanks to Appwest Solutions, our technological partner, and Mr. Shahad Singh, the CEO of Appwest Solutions, for their constant technological support to make this conference a great success. And next, I'd like to thank our past president, Mr. Rividu Pereira, for his guidance and advices given to us throughout the year until this very moment to make this conference an immense success. And I'd like to thank Mr. Nimasri Rajaratne, Father of Under Secretary General of Operations, for his committed support to give us a good financial backing to make this conference a great success. And next, I'd like to thank my dear parents, Mr. Ravi Karunaratne and Chamari Senratyapa, for their advices and the guidance given to us to make this conference a great success and to us to be successful in this MUN arena. And finally, I'd like to thank our chairpersons and the non-chair committee for their sacrifices and the commitment made to make this conference a great success. And lastly, I'd like to thank everyone who helped us even a little in these hard times to make ACMUN 2020 one of the greatest conferences of the year 2020. Thank you very much.
Good evening, dear principals, teachers in charge, parents and delegates. I thank you all for joining the closing ceremony of Ananda College Model United Nations Conference 2020 and for joining and engaging yourselves in this diplomatic intercourse. I also thank all our sponsors for their enormous financial support in making this conference a reality. Furthermore, I'd like to congratulate and extend my best wishes for all the delegates who were voted in our conference and for their impressive performance. And now, without taking any more of your time, I'd like to end my speech by stating this saying: discussion, debate, and negotiation are the cornerstones of peace and freedom. With that being said, by all the powers vested on me, I declare the session closed.